Hello, happiness abounders, and welcome back. Today I'm really excited to continue our discussion and theme week about not breaking the chain by talking about accountability. I know some of us love it, some of us hate it, but it is important if we're looking to not break our chain of habits and goals every single day. If we want to keep our momentum, sometimes having a little bit of accountability is just what we need. So here's what I mean. Right? Yesterday we spoke all about tracking and reporting, and that's really creating accountability to yourself. But for many of us, we also have to have an external accountability to someone else or something else to make sure that we are staying on course and not breaking the chain. If you're familiar with Gretchen Rubin's 4 Tendencies framework, a lot of people are obligers, and this is crucial for us as we move into this discussion all about not breaking your chains. So, what does this really mean and look like? First off, accountability. For some of us, okay, great. Yes, I understand that I need to be accountable to someone to get something done. Most of us are accountable to someone in some shape or form. The best example I can think of is going to work, right? You're accountable to someone at work to go in and do the job. You're accountable to your family to go to work to earn money to support your family. Even if you don't have the family, you're accountable to yourself in some sense, if not your boss at work, but you're also accountable to yourself in the sense of you need to have a roof over your head, right? Or you may be accountable to debt collectors, bills, things like that. But there's some level of accountability everywhere in our lives. But if you are an obliger, as per the 4 Tendencies framework, which we've discussed in previous episodes, if you are an obliger, you may really struggle to achieve your goals and get that momentum daily without some accountability. Now, even if you're not an obliger, because we have accountability in our space, in most instances, having accountability for your daily goals at some level, whether it is on the daily level or weekly, like here's how I did 5 out of 7, right? Or whatever that is to somebody, can make a big difference. Now, this is why nutritionists, personal trainers, life coaches, etc. do so well and they can help people so much, is because they help keep them accountable moving forward. Now, notice I did not say transformational happiness mentors, which is what I am. I help people be accountable to themselves and learn how to do that so that by the end of working with me or with mentors, by the end of working in that space, you are able to have the tools so that you are not held accountable to me to be able to achieve your goals. You're held accountable to yourself. So depending on where you are in that scale, whether you like a little accountability, whether you need a lot of accountability, whether you have trained yourself to be accountable to yourself, or you've worked with someone who has helped train you and teach you those ways, wherever you're at though, there is some accountability that needs to come into play when it comes to not breaking your chain. And this is the play that I mean, right? The accountability of the action, tracking, the note cards, tracking, reporting, etc. That's important. Now, if you are at that level where you can hold yourself accountable, that will totally work. But I feel this episode is important because for many of us, we are not in that level yet. So how do we keep that momentum, do that tracking, reporting, but use accountability as a tool to help us get there? So what you need to do is tell people, I'm going after big goal A, which means every day I'm doing X, Y, and Z, or I should probably do a different thing, right? I'm going after big goal A, so that means I'm doing 1, 2, and 3 every single day to help me get there. Sometimes that's just enough, because next time you run into that person, they'll be like, hey, how's that going? Right? And you're like, oh, it's going great, because you know you told them, and so you don't want to look like you dropped the ball, and so you have done the work. Other times it's, hey, I would love to just reach out to you. Would it be all right if I just texted you every day after I worked out and just told you that I worked out? It would really help me know that I'm accountable to you, that you're expecting that, and that will help me go and do it. Would you be able to help me with that? Or, hey, at the end of week, like on Sundays, I write down kind of what happened in my week, and I'd really like to share with you, if that would be okay, how I did working towards my goals. It'd just be simple as like a 5 out of 7 or a 2 out of 7 or a 7 out of 7, and you don't have to ask any questions or anything, but can I send that to you? Can I talk to you about this? Can we meet for lunch once a month and brainstorm with each other on how we can be about achieving our goals? Be in a mastermind group. Here's the thing, it doesn't have to be a friend. It doesn't have to be a coworker. It doesn't have to be anybody you really like deeply know. You can join a mastermind group or a group of individuals who are all goal-oriented, who are looking for the same kind of accountability, which sometimes is better because it's a lot harder to ask your sister or your spouse or someone like that, a best friend, to help you be accountable because they're your friend. So like if you stop for a minute, they'll be totally understanding and like, oh, no, you're amazing. And you might need somebody that's like, yeah, well, what happened? Like, when did you break that agreement with yourself, and how can we make sure that doesn't happen in the future? All right, so sometimes it's nice to have that external accountability. And again, that can come in the form or shape of a mastermind, of a group on Facebook, right? That's why those are so popular. It can also come in the form of, like I mentioned earlier, trainers, coaches. And in some small form, if you want to get to that next level where you find out you can be accountable to yourself, in some forms, a mentor. So I think that you may not have to tell everyone, you don't even have to tell the people closest to you, but find some way to be accountable, because tracking and reporting for yourself, if you're at that level, should work. But if you're not at that level, which most of us aren't, having a small level of accountability at wherever it needs to be for you, and you're gonna have to test it out, you're gonna have to figure out where that is for you. But whatever that small level of accountability is, it can be crucial in making sure we do not break the chain. Because now, we don't want to break the chain because we're accountable to someone else in some form, shape, or another. Now, I'm not saying that we didn't want to break the chain before, but if your chain is you want to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and you get a text, or you have to text someone at 5 a.m. so that they know that you woke up and you maintain this, you're going to get much higher levels of waking up at 5 a.m. than if it's just you and you're like, man, I'm just really tired. I don't have to be to work early today. I could just sleep in. Even though you have the best of intentions of not breaking the chain, it can happen. So accountability can be very, very helpful in that instance, which is why I wanted to talk about it on this episode. I really wanted to bring up that accountability is not a bad thing. In fact, it's something that we all have in our lives, but it's also something that we can use as a tool to help us get those next levels. And it's not saying that you need to be accountable to someone for the rest of forever. It's saying find someone, find a group, find the way that works for you, and slowly begin to up-level your accountability. So in those mornings when you're like, man, I just want to sleep in, you're accountable to yourself, and you're like, yes, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to get up because I promised myself that I would. But that takes time. So in the meantime, reach out and find an accountability partner, an accountability group, a coach, a trainer, a mentor, whatever it is that would work best for you, and start down that path. Which takes me to, I'm going to say it again because I've mentioned it in the last few episodes, if you are not aware that I mentor individuals and you like this episode, you like this podcast, it has helped you in your life, and you'd like to take things to the next level, then be sure to reach out to me on happinessabound.com. You can click on mentoring and see the mentoring packages, and you can always reach out if you have additional questions. I think the biggest thing is we can talk about this stuff all day. I can inspire you in thinking about certain things, and you may be taking actions, but if you want to really take it to the next level and really have transformation in your life beyond what you've already learned here in the podcast, then be sure to give mentoring a shot and reach out to me again at happinessabound.com. So that said, if you liked this episode, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your listening platform of choice. Make sure to find some level of accountability for your life so you don't break that chain. And above everything else, remember, you are capable of happiness abound.